All right, Vandy releases their renderings for their new stadium project. Man, it looks first class. This is Locked On Vandy. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right. Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Speaking of every day, we hope you become, after this first week of the Locked On Vandy podcast, we hope you become an everydayer. So today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for 25% off on your first purchase. That's right. Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. So, man, I was perusing through the X or the Twitter or whatever you want to call that thing these days. Man, Vandy, they have sent something out to their season tickets holders. Renderings of their new stadium project, which is renovations to both end zones. Holy cow, man. Vanderbilt Stadium is going to provide a first-class experience for the fans when this is completed. I think this will bring Vandy fans back into the fold. This is something I was talking about as one of the possible solutions of, hey, let's get Vandy fans back in the building. This is absolutely it, man. If you look at these drawings, man, I got the north end zone right here. Man, oh man, this is amazing right here. You got the big video board, got lots of suites, lots of amenities. Man, this thing's going to be loaded down with fan experience stuff. You got field level suites, all kind of stuff back here in these concourses. Man, this is going to be nothing short of amazing. I think this is on the Marriott side too. I'm unclear on how the stadium is oriented as far as these renderings go, but I'm just blown away, man, by all of this, and it's simply going to be an amazing thing. So this is the North End Zone stadium upgrade. So they're replacing the current seating bowls for both end zones. New premium seating options will be available, including second level and field level. There's a new video board, like I said. That thing's going to be finally first class. It looked like just one of those dorm room TVs that you used to have, like compared to the other stadiums. And it was pretty pitiful. They have premium hospitality areas. They have new North Concourse expansion connecting First Bank Stadium's East and West concourses, something that you didn't get on that end when they were doing this thing. So, man, it's like I said, man, this is crazy, man. This is really good, really first class, man. And I'm going to show you here the south end zone. This is where it was closed in a little bit, and they had that little tiny video board right there. This is the McGugin Center side where they do the anchor walk. Yes, I mean this thing looks like an actual like state of the art football facility, man. You got some suites here. You got looks like the visitors locker room might be down over here in this corner. I don't know if you can. You can't really see my cursor as I go, but they've got the tunnel coming out from the Star Walk. They've got all kind of stuff there, man. This is just, it's a good look for Vandy. I think they're going to have some more amenities in this section as well. You're going to be fully connected for the first time in your stadium's existence. It's going to be state of the art, man. It's going to be, I mean, it's. And Vandy had to get creative with this, right? And I'll show you the north end zone now again. So Vandy had to get creative with this because, just throwing in more seats and trying to increase capacity, I think would have been the wrong move, honestly. I think what Vandy fans needed was something that they could go to and say, okay, this thing's going to be awesome. We can take our kids here. We can take families here. We can have a good time while watching the game. And it's just going to be an overall experience. And I think what Vandy's doing with these sections is just that. Like you could cram and shoehorn fans in, But what you're going to get is more Tennessee fans or more Georgia fans or more Texas fans or more Bama fans or whoever is the visiting team. You're just opening up capacity for them. So I think that having this and ensuring that Vandy fans actually are the ones that take up these seats and take up these areas, I think is a very, very smart move on the part of the Vandy Athletic Association. I think spending the money on fan experience is absolutely the right move. And it's absolutely going to get people in the seats. It's absolutely going to get people interested. If not in the program totally, I think that's going to come with due time. But I think just getting them there in the stadium is the first big domino of this whole renaissance or attempted renaissance that Vandy is trying to do. Vandy's trying to get with the times. They're trying to actually be an SEC program. So they're not going to have an SEC capacity stadium. They never will. They never need one because I just don't think they draw enough. And even with the opposing fans, I don't think they draw enough. So I think if you have I think Vandy's got to be unique in everything they do. Coaching philosophy, offensive, defensive philosophy, special teams philosophy, fan experience philosophy, campus game day philosophy, things like that. They've got to be unique, right? They've got to play to what they are, where they are, right? They're in beautiful Nashville. You can see it over my shoulder. I always get backwards here on these on this point, but they just need to be what they are and just make it as best of an experience as they possibly can. And I think this will do it. I like I said, I'll restate the fact, right? I'm an educator. We have to restate our objectives every single time we teach. So the objective for Vandy is to increase fan engagement. And I think this does it, right? I think this gets fans there. I think this gets the right people there. I think this gets people interested, right? And it gets people into the games a little bit earlier. Like it gives you a sense of urgency to come because, like, hey, there's some cool stuff inside the stadium that we can take advantage of in the north end zone or, the south end zone club or, whatever the case may be, whatever they decide. And that'll come at a later date as far as what they're going to put in these completed projects. So, again, the multi-floor building on the south end zone. So I'm gonna put up the south end zone. I didn't read the stats that they put up for the south end zone. So here's this one again. So this one is going to be multi-floor building spanning more than 130,000 square feet. It's going to have the football game day locker room. So I guess they're going to move down from the McGugin Center into the stadium. Student athlete training table and dining facility here in this building. So I think they're expanding not only the stadium, but the football facility as well. It's 5 times larger than the current dining facility. They have new diverse premium seating offerings for football games, including living room boxes. Wow. Lodge seating, club seating, field level seating, founder suites, club suites, and open air tailgate suites. Renovated concourse twice as large as its current footprint, also doubling the number of concession stands with expanded offerings. And they have a new video board and stadium acoustics system. Wow. All of that sounds absolutely amazing, man. An open air tailgate suite. Like, can you imagine just being able to tailgate inside the stadium? And in that, it's going to make the experience so much better. Like, hey, I'm already a fan of the South End. So sign me up for that, man. This is outstanding. Living room boxes. Like, you can have the comforts of your own living room, but you're at the stadium. Holy cow, man. This is awesome, man. The concourse, which was my least favorite part of this, of Vandy Stadium. It felt very cramped. I felt very claustrophobic in Vandy's concourses, and people just can't move about. Like, it's almost, it's just ridiculous. And I'm surprised people don't have more panic attacks at Vandy games. But for them to open that up a little bit too is huge. I think having field level suites, I think a lot of people are doing that. I think moving some of the everyday football facilities over there are good. Student athlete training table stuff, and open it to all athletes. is also a good move. I think having the game day locker room there, I think you're going to have to kind of start a new tradition with the Star Walk. I think that's going to be a little bit different, but I think overall, man, you're looking at some really, really fun stuff with this with this new stadium project. So that's the update on the rendering. There's some YouTube videos where you can just watch. If you're a construction nerd, you can just watch the build, right? You just watch the bulldozers. You could just watch the backhoes or whatever's going on, man. They got videos and construction cameras and all that stuff for you to keep up with that and keep up with their progress and make sure that they're on track to give you this and this, right? So let me know which one you like, man. Drop a like at Coach Burton 36 is my personal, I guess, X account, and then at Locked On Vandy is the show's account. So make sure you get a like and a follow there. Make sure you comment like, hey, what side are you going to try to get on? North end zone or south end zone, man? What's your preference? I'll tell you mine. Mine's the south end zone. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I think Vandy fans will be excited, and some more things that they could be excited about potentially is what we're going to talk about next. All right. We are presented by Gametime, man. Have you ever had a frustrating ticket buying experience? I know I have. I think sometimes buying concert tickets can be a little tricky, especially the last minute ones, man. It's crazy, but you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next event, man. Gametime is fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Like I wanted to go to a comedy show and I couldn't find tickets. But with that killer last minute deal, all in prices and views from your seat and their best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, man. So there's a lot of things going on. I mean, just look at the Ryman, man. So, you can get last minute tickets, man. I love that. Flash deals, zone deals. They're easy to find. Buy tickets for every kind of event to your area. Man, you can view the seats in your venue, man. That's so underrated. And the lowest price guarantee, you have event cancellation protection. So let's say the lead singer comes down with laryngitis and he cancels the show. You have protection against that. Also job loss protection as well. So I'm stoked for this, man. Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. So see the view from your seat before you buy, know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All prices show your total up front, so you know what you're getting, and you know that you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. So buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. 1, 2. All right. So Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. So let's say you decide to go to that game an hour in. You got it. Does any other place have it? I don't know. I know Gametime does. So find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And Gametime guarantee means you'll get more and you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off on your first purchase. Terms apply again, and create your account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEG for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Man, it's well, we got some exciting stuff happening with this Vandy program. I think the arrow's kind of starting to point up a little bit. You wish the offensive coordinator search and the strength coach search would be a little bit faster, but I think Vandy operating the way they do can get a little. They do things the way they do the things, right? But again, it's going to be something that that you just have to kind of get used to with Vandy. And, but aside from all of that, I appreciate you guys listening, by the way. I'm grateful that you guys are making Vandy your first listen each and every day. Check out Locked On SEC. Check out Locked On Auburn. Check out Locked On Ole Miss. Check out all the college with Zach Blackerby. Check out all the college shows. You had Stephen Willis at Locked On Ole Miss, and so it's great, man. But yeah, so coaching searches can always be an arduous process. Some universities can and will act faster than others because the situations are like different everywhere. So you get these offensive coordinators that get hired just like that, and you got Vandy that it seems like they're dragging their feet, but it may be hard to find a candidate, right? Because you've got a situation here that you have people. I think people have to understand too that like this is not the most comfortable situation to be in, right? This is a risk. Taking the Vandy job is a risk. I'll be honest with you. I can't lie and say, oh, this is the greatest job ever, and people should be lining up. Well, Vandy's not there. Vandy's just not there yet. But they will be. They could be. With the right hire, they could be. So Vandy is in the realm of, they have to kind of vet these candidates probably a little bit more because there's commodities out there that they're probably having to go after that aren't as known as some of the guys that have gotten hired, right? Like, I would love to have Willie Korn as offensive coordinator. I just don't think it's going to happen. I may be surprised, but I just don't think it's going to happen, right? So you have to kind of reach a little bit deeper into the box there. So I think people get wrapped up in, we haven't hired OC yet. Oh, we haven't hired this yet or that yet. It's also on the same token, like you probably have guys identified, but like who wants to come be with Coach Lee if they think he's going to get fired, right? I mean, that's the sentiment. Like he may get fired. He may lose his job because Vandy's not on good footing right now. They finished 2-10. They had a bunch of guys leaving the portal. I mean, they're getting some guys back. Clark Lee is taking over defensive play calling. So, you're starting to get some defensive prospects in. But I just don't think that when you look at how this thing is set up, like I just don't think you're going to, you're not going to get the candidate that you think, keyword that you think is top notch. You're taking a risk. But there's a lot of great coaches out there in G5. There's a lot of great FCS coaches out there that need that chance. And why not take that chance? Like if I'm an FCS coordinator, man, I'm throwing my hat in the ring, right? Because Vandy might get to the point where they have to take a chance on me. Not me, but like if I'm the FCS coordinator, right? So like you have to kind of be ready for, and I think fans have to be ready for the fact that they may not know who the heck this hire is. And they may just have to trust that Coach Lee did his due diligence and have the right guy that fits this personnel. I think you need to find somebody that is personnel minded more so than scheme minded, because I think Joey Lynch was, I don't know what Joey Lynch was, but I think, you get some of these guys in here like Todd Fitch, who was a little bit more scheme based, and he was just trying to find guys to fit in his scheme. And you can't be that specific recruiting at Vandy. Like you're just going to have to kind of get creative with what you do based on what you have. Right. And I think having somebody like Conceals, you had 3 different quarterbacks who does 3 different types of things. And you just had this like potpourri of talent, and you didn't really even know what to do with it. And so I think when you make these hires, you have to keep that in mind. Like you have to like keep in mind that your personnel might be in total flux at all times. And that's okay. Yeah, that's just kind of what it is. But I think if you lean into that and you find somebody that can be geared more towards that, I think you're going to find a good fit, right? And unfortunately, in order to get the talent, you're going to have to kind of find a scheme that you like and that can fit some of the guys that you do have left. And then just go find guys in the portal that kind of fit that mold. Like I think you're going to see a domino effect here. You got a couple quarterbacks that are on deck. You hire the right coordinator, you're going to get the right quarterback. And I think that's going to be absolutely the case. So, I'm excited to kind of see who that is. I've heard the name Tim Beck, and I'll break him down a little bit more here in a little bit. But, I think that's going to be, if you hire Tim Beck as offensive coordinator, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. I really do. So we're going to continue coaching talk a little bit, and maybe a little bit of portal stuff here in the next segment. So stay tuned. We're going to continue this discussion here in just a little bit. Hi there. Thanks for being a valued PrizePicks partner. As an experienced creator who understands your audience best, we're looking for you to help make the most compelling ad possible. So while it may have some mandatories, overall, we'd love to give your own creative spin. So PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3 points made and receptions. PrizePick also even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. So PrizePick is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Man, that's awesome. So go to prizepicks.com, Locked On College, and use the promo code Locked On College for a first deposit match up to $100. That's right. Go to prizepicks.com/Locked On College. Use the code Locked On College for a deposit match of up to $100. All right, we're back, man. Once again, I appreciate you guys hanging with us and making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We hope you become everydayers. We hope there's more than a handful of you that become everydayers. So if you see a friend, tell a friend. Pass this right along. Pass this along to the alumni club. Pass this along to whoever rocks that Vandy Star or that Vandy V or whatever it is the Commodores are rocking these days, or whatever it is you're rocking these days, right? I hope this podcast is blaring through the South End Zone acoustic system. That's going to be state of the art. The athletes are going to be in the training table and they're going to be listening to our podcast, and it will all be thanks to you, everydayers. You're not there yet, but you're going to be. So this is my call to action for you. So make sure you hop on board there and find us on social media as well. So I was talking about offensive coordinators, talking about coaching, and how kind of important it is to make sure that you get this hire correct, right? So if you're Clark Lee and you finished 2-10 a year ago and your offense was abysmal, like I've got to be honest, like I don't want to be negative guy here, but the offense was garbage. There's no other way around it. So this hire is important. This hire is important. You have to get this right. And you have a chance to get it right because you have a chance to pair an offensive coordinator with a quarterback that fits perfectly with their system. And then once you kind of get that ball rolling, then it makes recruiting a little bit easier. So I think a name that I've heard is Tim Beck. And I think that's a name that I think a lot of Vanderbilt fans want. I think it's a name that later on down in the schedule when Vandy travels to the Plains, as we shout out to yesterday's episode, when Vandy comes down to the Plains, Auburn's not going to want to see this guy again. This guy, the last time he went to Auburn, man, they they destroyed Auburn. They scored all over them. They were running all over them, throwing all over them, putting points up on the board. This guy, Tim Beck, he's offensive coordinator currently at New Mexico State. Now, I watched a little bit of highlights. Now, when I say a little bit of highlights, I mean a little bit of highlights. And I watched some of the Auburn game as well that they played against New Mexico State. And what I noticed about Tim Beck is I think he does a really, really good job with the run game and mixing up the run game with inside, outside, perimeter runs, quarterback runs, combo runs, double option runs, reads, things like that. I think he does a good job of kind of constructing a run game that for the guys up front may be simple, but you have a lot of window dressing and you have a lot of, I guess you call it smoke and mirrors, to make things look a little bit different. So I think he varies some things up a little bit. And I think a good athletic running quarterback would be a really, really good fit in his scheme. I think somebody like Matthew Sluka would be a really good fit. I think even Cole Snyder would be a good fit. There was a guy, MJ Moores, who I thought would have been a perfect fit, transferring from NC State, but he just committed to Maryland. So don't think that's going to happen. So Tim Beck is a name to watch out for. That would be a phenomenal hire. Just throwing that out there. I think Vandy's offense would immediately pop, and I think some guys in the portal would pay a little bit more attention to Vandy because of Tim Beck, and I think he's going to be really. I think he would be a really, really good hire for the Commodores. Also, Matt Bayless is a name that I'm hearing for the strength and conditioning job. He's been most recently, I think, at Notre Dame. He's been at Mississippi State. He's kind of been a little bit of everywhere. There's some seminars out there that he has online. I plan on listening to a few of them, especially if he gets hired. I want to kind of see kind of what he's all about. I've seen clips of him on social media, and this guy seems impressive. I mean, all strength coaches kind of are in that mold of like, You listen to him speak in a public forum and you're ready to frickin' just run through a wall. This guy had me ready to run through a wall. He talks about nutrition. They're expanding the athlete dining hall. The weight program, I think the training program is going to be a little bit more intense. I think you're going to see less injuries. I think you're going to see guys bigger, stronger, faster. I think that would be a really good hire. Also, I mean, I don't know a ton about him, so I don't know. I can't say it would be a Grand Slam hire, but again, at Georgia, I guarantee a lot of Georgia fans didn't know who Scott Sinclair was, and when he got hired, and you see what happened now with that program. So, you make the right hire at strength and conditioning, and you're in really, really good shape. You make a really good hire there, that could save your job because you get guys that were at one time significantly weaker or more injury prone than the rest of the people in your league. You bridge that gap a little bit and it gets a little bit dangerous. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait till they officially name those two guys. Like I think those would be, considering where Vandy is, I think those two guys would be really good hires. I think they would add a lot to the program. All right. A little bit of transfer portal talk. Vandy received a long snapper commitment. So speaking of special teams, they're bolstering special teams. Julian Ashby, long snapper from Furman. He's fired up, man. Ready to get on campus. Ready to make an impact and impact special teams, because the long snapper can make plays in punt coverage. And the long snappers, if they're athletic enough, they can be a weapon. And so I think that's absolutely going to be the case here with Julian Ashby. So stay tuned. There's going to be some more visitors this week. We'll talk more about that. We'll break down if anybody commits or anything happens over the weekend. Stay tuned to the channel. We might do a couple of YouTube shorts, things like that, to kind of keep you updated if anything breaks. And then we'll come back with week number 2 of the Locked On Vandy podcast. So, man, I appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys showing love here in week number 1 for the Locked On Vandy podcast. This is going to be an exciting ride for this show on this network. So follow us at Locked On Vandy. Follow me at Coach Burton 36. and just get on board, man, with the Locked On Podcast Network in whole. But join us in the SEC and especially join me here in Nashville on Locked On Vandy. But that's going to do it here. That's going to wrap us up. Man, we hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. If you do any activities or anything, have fun, enjoy it. We'll see you back here Monday for another edition of the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. But until then, so long. See you later. And of course, anchor down.